I do like a bit of self-help content, and right now I'm watching Jimmy Carr on Diary of a CEO, and it's very moving. I'm finding myself coming out in tears a little bit as I'm listening to some of his wisdom, and it's got me thinking I would like to make a video just to talk a bit about something he mentioned, which was human connection. If there's a reason I read, it's for human connection. If there's a reason I'm coming onto YouTube and engaging in the Booktube community, it's human connection. And what he said in his interview was that looking at studies of, let's say, Italians who live till they're 100, and they're saying, but they eat olive oil and fish, that's the secret. He's like, no. They eat with other people. They have conversations. And that's something that seems to be going away, and which is why podcasts, long form, 2-3 hour conversations, are becoming so popular, because they're filling a void where conversation has gone, and it's filling it. So it got me thinking about human connection, and I'm going to look at 2 examples here. First of all, creativity. This is a thing Jimmy Carr talked about, was the idea that creativity is the flip side of anxiety. I do have anxiety a lot of the time, and as he said that, it really tied in with the idea that I first formulated when I was reading Assassin's Apprentice way back for the first time in 2000, which was the idea of art as a way of, it's not a revolutionary thought by any means, but art as a means of connection and communication. Connection to something bigger, because first of all, whence comes the inspiration? And then the idea that you can connect to other people by sharing your artistic creations, and then they react to it in their own way, which is why I'm enjoying this book, which was recommended to me as part of Ben McAvoy's Hardcore Literature Book Club. Tolstoy, What is Art? This is really good, and I'm reading it in tandem with some Tolstoy and some Crime and Punishment, which I'm going to get to. So creativity as a means of self-help, of reducing anxiety, of flipping anxiety around and turning it into creativity. This is something I'll be thinking about, and I love it. Now, let's look at Crime and Punishment. There's a particular section in this which really stood out to me as I was reading it, because I could relate to it so well. So I'm going to read to you from chapter 2, part 1, chapter 2. We're talking about Raskolnikov, the main character. It says, but now he suddenly felt drawn to being among other people. Something new seemed to be happening to him, something that included a yearning for the company of others. He felt so tired after an entire month of such unremitting anguish and miserable turmoil that he longed, if only just for a moment, to find peace and rest in some other world, no matter what form it might take. Despite, therefore, the filth of his surroundings, he was now happy to stay where he was, in the tavern. So he's found himself in a dingy, dark tavern, and he's seeking human connection, which is, as it says, something new. But then, in the next page, when one of the barflies approaches him and says, would you like to have a conversation? We get this. Despite his recent fleetingly expressed desire to engage with other people, no matter what form it took, the effect of someone else now actually directly addressing him suddenly awoke in him his usual unpleasant and irritable dislike of any strange person who approached or attempted to approach him. So I see that as life, his factory settings, his way of being in the world, the layer upon layer upon layer of anxiety and hardship and trauma. All of these things that he carries around with him that make him feel isolated and insular and in his own head and unwilling to reach out and communicate, to fulfill that desire that's deep within us all, I think, to connect with other people. So I'm reading a book written in the 1860s, and it could have been written today. It's just remarkable the way that I can connect to this art, to this creation, to this character who I resonate with today in 2024. And this scene here in War and Peace, when we're going to have a look at one of the main characters, Nikolai Rostov, as he's fallen off his horse at the Battle of Austerlitz, and he's hurt his arm, and then he sees some Frenchmen coming at him. And tell me if you can relate to this idea. Who are these people? Rostov was still wondering. He could hardly believe his eyes. Is it the French? He looked at the Frenchmen running towards him, and although only a few seconds before he had been galloping along, dying to get at them and hack them to pieces, now that they were so near, everything seemed so ghastly that again he couldn't believe his eyes. Who are they? Why are they running? They're not after me. They can't be after me. Why? They can't want to kill me. Me? Everybody loves me. He remembered all the love he had had from his mother, from his family and his friends, and the idea of the enemy wanting to kill him seemed absurd. But they might want to. So, how about that for a character study? A look at somebody going into war for the first time and looking for glory, and then being faced with other people as they come at him. The enemy. But the enemy are just other people as well. And those enemy characters that we don't get inside the heads of, but they'll be having thoughts like that too, about their mums and their friends, their loved ones. So, it's a war scene, but we're getting a glimpse into someone's character and innermost thoughts, and it's fascinating. So I'm connecting to someone's art. Tolstoy here. What is art? Well, he's got some ideas on that. And another book that I bought when I was in Glasgow on Monday, Svetlana Alexievich, Boys in Zinc. Now, I've read Svetlana Alexievich's work before, a book called Second Hand Time, and what it is reportage style entries. This one is about boys coming home from Afghanistan in the late 70s, 80s, when the Russians sent troops out to Afghanistan to to Sovietize them, to socialise them, in much the same way that the Americans, anyway, politics and stuff. This is about, eyewitness accounts, about personal accounts of people who went there and came back, telling about what it was like from a very personal perspective. And in her other book, which I read, Second Hand Time, there's a similar style where she's talking to lots and lots of different people about the collapse of the Soviet Union, about the rise of the wild capitalism of the 90s after the wall came down in the Soviet Union, and about different age groups, people from different backgrounds. It's just a fascinating glimpse into a world which is almost unimaginable for us. However, when you read these eyewitness accounts and personal accounts, it becomes imaginable. You can really put yourself there and talk about connection. Boy, oh boy. So although as a reader I'm not having conversations with these people, I feel that this woman here, she is the one who's facilitating conversations. So I'm getting to hear these accounts being told in the first person as real people. This is not storytelling. This is not fiction. This is real stuff. And there's no agenda to it. It's not about left versus right or any of that political stuff. It's just about this is what these people experienced. So I think Jimmy Carr has the right of it. I don't think it was the fish and the olive oil. That's not what keeps the Italians living into longer lives than we do in the West. It's about human connection. It's about conversation. It's about getting to know people. It's about bringing your walls down, being vulnerable, being authentic. And that's what I get from listening to these long form podcasts as well, which admittedly I've been doing less of late, and that came up in this morning's journaling. I was wondering why that was. You can read that if you want. This is my journal here. I love to write in this in the mornings with a fountain pen. And sometimes I put it up online because, I don't know, I think it might be helpful to other people. It certainly helps me to do it, so not quite your usual book review style of video for Booktube. But hey, it's my channel and I'm going to use it as I wish. This is me being creative and hopefully helping some people to think a little bit. So, thanks for watching. See you in the next one, which might very well be a book review. We'll see. Bye.